Welcome back to MidPoint, and also welcome back veteran broadcast journalist and author Jane Velez-Mitchell. Jane, last segment you said that you talked about the conversation we need now. So in your opinion, first of all, let's look at Ferguson. What is the conversation this nation needs to have right now with regard to cops, people, black, white, and all the rest?
Well, first of all, I started a hashtag, badge cams now. If every officer in America had a badge cam, we wouldn't be having this discussion. There wouldn't be riots because we would have seen exactly what transpired. So this is what I call reactive justice. Oh, we can't afford to install the badge cams, but we can spend millions and millions of dollars of tax dollars bringing in the National Guard, and imagine what it's going to cost to clean up that mess and all the stuff that was destroyed last night. I mean, if we just invested proactively, we would have seen exactly what happened. And this is such an easy fix. And yet, over and over again, we go through the same process. And I do call it reactive justice because it's, ooh, we don't have money to do this, that, and the other. But once the horror hits and it's a total mess, then money's no object. Let's spend the taxpayers' dollars with abandon because everything's a mess. You know, we've got to change that equation entirely.
Jane, do we also need to have the discussion about political correctness, again, as if we haven't already been having that for the last 30 and 40 years in many ways? Because we've had guests on the show, a number of people who've said that what happened last night is just abominable. The fact that the governor said that they would have the National Guard there, there would be protection, they would put up with no nonsense, yet they did with all these buildings burning, cars on fire. Some people actually believe at this point that the government said, back off, let it burn, don't get in trouble, don't take a chance on shooting anybody or getting any deeper into this, but just let it happen and go. That's despicable in many ways.
Well, I have to ask, I was sitting there watching the TV like the rest of America last night and wondering, when is this announcement going to come? It was broad daylight when I started watching. By the time I got the announcement, it was dark out. Bad move. Now, we know the past predicts the future. We know there has been unrest in Ferguson and surrounding communities at night. So why make this highly charged announcement with everybody gathering on the streets? And you could see more and more people gathering as the hours passed and everybody was waiting for the announcement. I mean, that's bad planning, at the very least.
Bad planning there. Now, what about that political correctness, though? Because there are those people saying that that's why they would not want to go forward, is for fear that they would anger the black community, again, with regard to law enforcement. Isn't that a discussion that needs to be had as well?
Well, let me say this. I feel, Ed, that there's conscious motivations and then there's unconscious motivations. And I feel that the culture kind of conspired to make this a cause célèbre, knowing that it wasn't the right case to use as Exhibit A of police brutality, and going ahead with it anyway because perhaps on a subconscious level there was a bit of, well, let's see this whole thing implode. And I feel that the young people who were very frustrated and crying out there on the streets were in a sense betrayed, doubly betrayed, because they were encouraged to root for a cause that had deep flaws. I would rather see all that energy taken into putting the focus on early childhood education and job training and internships and apprenticeships and all of the things that we need to proactively make people wonderful, productive members of society. Everybody wants to belong. Everybody wants to achieve. Everybody wants to feel a part of. Obviously, there are young people in that community who don't feel. They feel lost. And the answer isn't telling them, hey, root for this issue, which is deeply flawed, and as the transcripts and the evidence shows, is really not the cause to invest in. And yet, they were encouraged to do so. So I feel that they were, in a sense, betrayed.
I only got about 45 seconds left. Speaking of political correctness, I know that you are talking a little bit on your JaneUnchained.com website about PETA talking to the Obama children about stopping the turkey pardon every year.
Yes, it's making light of something that's a horrific slaughter of 45 million turkeys for one day. They are raised in horrific factory farm conditions. And frankly, Americans are overconsuming meat and dairy products. It's causing health problems that are causing our deficits to skyrocket. So conservatives out there, if you want to lower the deficit and save tax dollars, let's not encourage everybody to eat badly. Let's bring more fruits and vegetables, nuts and grains, and eat the way our great-grandparents did, which was not a burger for lunch, breakfast, and dinner.
I'll even go with that sometimes because, quite frankly, America's waistline needs to have a few less burgers here and there. I'm going to have to agree with you on that, and maybe a few less of other things as well. Want to remind everybody that the website is JaneUnchained.com. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you here, Jane. Please come back again because I have a feeling you and I will always get involved in a couple of interesting arguments, debates, and discourses along the way. I love it. A very happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, Jane.
Thanksgiving to you, or should I say thanks living, Ed. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks living. I'll go ahead and take that as well. Thanks so much, Jane. All right, time out, and we're back on the other side with another example of how America is being used by a government that has no desire to ever be our friend under any circumstance. And later on, one who was on the ground protesting Monday night in Ferguson. It's coming up on MidPoint.